Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to my Gala Alex review. I'll be covering a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna go over skills, skill chain, and how to skill chain. If you're somebody who's struggling to figure out how Alex works, then be sure to watch the whole video. Also note that there's gonna be some raw gameplay at the end of this video for anyone that is interested to see some Gala Alex gameplay. Anyways, there's lots to cover, so let's not waste time and dive right in. Gala Alex is a shadow sword and she comes with a unique attack animation. It's sort of like a combination of dagger and sword. The C1 allows Alex to close the gap similar to what the dagger C1 does, so you can definitely use C1 as a tool to get in. Her skills have SP cost, but it's not the same as other characters. Instead of filling the skills independently, Alex has a skill gauge bar located at the top left of the screen. This bar caps out at 3, and that means if you get 3 bars, then she can very well do 3 skills in a row immediately. 1 bar requires 1129 SP to fill, which also means that her innate skills each cost 1129 SP as well. And to fill 1 bar, all it takes is 1 whole C5 combo. And even though Alex has a unique attack animation, she still retains the same SP gains per attack as traditional swords. Now let's go over her skills, and this is where I'm also going to explain how her skill chain combos works. I'm going to break it down into different layers. Skill 1, Crescent's Edge, it deals 3 hits of 202% shadow damage, debuffs defense by 5% for 15 seconds with 100% chance, and the defense debuff does not stack. The debuff doesn't stack with itself, but it looks like it does stack with other defense debuffs such as Gala Cleo's. As you can see on the screen, High Jupiter has a 15% defense debuff, that's 10% from Gleo and 5% from Alex. Skill 2 deals 1 hit of 555% shadow damage, inflicts 58% poison damage with 120% chance. The poison doesn't deal much and the base mods aren't that great, so the purpose of this base skill effect is for inflicting poison, enabling Poison Punisher, activating her innate chain ability, and to use as a skill chain starter. Using skill 2 to apply poison to activate Alex's chain ability should be one of the first things you do in any fight. In addition to all of this, Alex's skills can deal more damage if she takes advantage of skill chain. Skill chain is possible for a set period of time after using a skill, and you'll know when you can skill chain because you'll have a blue border circling around the skill icon. If you skill chain the skill 1, meaning you activate consecutive skill 1s, then it will deal a total of 1091% instead of the base 606%. If the foe has a defense debuff active, then it will deal 1199%. It's also noted that skill chaining skill 1 does not apply the defense debuff. Skill 2 can also be chained with itself. When chained, it deals a total of 995% instead of the base 553%. If the foe is poisoned, then it will deal 1094%. Similar to skill 1, skill 2 will not apply poison when skill chained. Skill chaining is something that you should be aiming to do for the entire duration of the fight. Considering the fact that skill 1 has better damage mods than skill 2, you want to do skill chains for skill 1 more often than for skill 2. The easy way to do it is to fill 2 bars, use skill 1, fill up to 2 bars again, do skill 1 again, rinse and repeat that. That's the bread and butter combo. You don't have to save up to 3 bars before skilling. Now to maximize damage on Alex, not only do you need to skill chain, but you need to apply defense down and poison on the foe, so you have to incorporate skill 2 somewhere in your rotation to apply the poison. If there's already an ally on the team that can apply poison for Alex, then you actually don't have to use skill 2 as much, but you still need to do it somewhere in your rotation. At this point, it's not for the poison, it's to activate her chain ability. Every time Alex inflicts poison, she gains a strength buff. This strength buff only lasts for 15 seconds and it can be reactivated every 10 seconds. So with that being said, every 10 seconds you need to apply poison with skill 2. Also, something very important about skill chaining is that you always need to have 2 bars before using a skill. The reason is because the skill chain actually drops if you go under 1 bar. You have to get at least 2 bars in order to skill chain. You can't just fill up 1 bar, use a skill, fill up to 1 bar again, and use the same skill. It doesn't work like that. Now there's a third part to this, and this is the long part. I'm not going to sit here and read it all because it's actually a headache trying to read all of this, so I'm just going to summarize it up for you. There's 2 conditions, and here's the first one. Basically look, if the foe has an active buff, then you can skill chain in order to apply a dispelling effect onto one of your skills. So for example, let's say Master's High Jupiter gets his passive 5% defense buff, okay? You can use skill 1 or skill 2 to start the dispel skill chain. Depending on which skill you initially use, you'll have to chain it by alternating to the other skill. So let's say you used skill 1 first. Then in order to get the dispel effect, you have to use skill 2 second. If you started with skill 2, then you have to use skill 1 second. You can tell which skill has the dispel effect because at the very bottom, your skills will have this little blue star icon on the top left of the corner. I personally prefer doing skill 2 into skill 1 for dispelling just because that way I can continue skill chaining into skill 1s. Also in Expert Kai, Alex is able to dispel his shield. You just have to make sure that you prepare 2 bars for when the shield is about to get applied. When the shield is up, use skill 2 and you'll waste it on the shield, and then skill 1 should break it, or you can do it the other way around too. Skill 1 into skill 2. Either way works. The second condition is when the foe is in a break state. Alex can deal extra break damage by alternating her skills in skill chain similar to the dispel version. For indication, you'll see a red icon this time in the top left corner on your skills. Again, you have to alternate your skills. You can do skill 1, skill 2, skill 1, or skill 2, skill 1, then skill 2. Remember again that skill 1 has better damage mods than skill 2, so you want to do the combo that does more empowered skill 1s over skill 2s. Initially, when Gala Alex first came out, I thought starting with skill 1 would be better, but now I think starting with skill 2 is probably more optimal. Starting with skill 2 will activate Gala Alex's Chenko ability, which is a strength buff, and that's one of the reasons why starting with skill 2 is probably optimal. Another reason is in the 10-second break duration, on average I think you can get in about 4 skills, 3 of which are empowered. With that being said, 2 of the 3 are skill 1s and 1 is skill 2. If you're able to perform the break sequence perfectly, then I think it is possible to get a 4th empowered skill in, but it's going to be really tight. Also note again that you shouldn't drop under 1 bar or else your skill chain will be lost. You should only empty your bar from when the break duration is about to end. So yeah, that's the gist of what Alex's skill does and how skill chaining works. There's a lot of digest, so I'm going to summarize it up once again, but in a more simpler fashion. Basically, if the foe is poisoned, then the combo is to do consecutive skill 1s, but don't drop under 1 bar. What you do is fill up to 2 bars, use skill 1, fill up to 2 bars again, skill 1, rinse and repeat. Make sure to save 3 bars for the break. If the foe is not poisoned, then you do skill 2 once just to apply poison and to reactivate Alex's Chenko ability. You'll do that every 10 seconds, and then you can go back to spamming skill 1s. If the foe has an active buff, then you have to fill 2 bars and do skill 1 into skill 2 or skill 2 into skill 1. I prefer doing the latter because it can skill chain into consecutive skill 1s. If the foe is in a break state, then the optimal combo is to start with skill 2 into skill 1 into skill 2 again, and then back to skill 1. Now her co-abilities, she has Dragon Haste, which is the norm, and Poison equals Strength, which is the new Chenko ability. Dragon Haste is kind of like whatever, I'm not going to go over it. Now her Chenko ability is really good. I've already mentioned it a couple times in this video already. You're going to want to skill 2 every so often in the fight just to get the strength buff to maximize damage. Every 10 seconds is when you'll want to skill 2 to reactivate this buff. The other use this co-ability has is on the bench. Gala Alex is going to be a good bench ally for any shadow lead that can apply poison, such as Nefaria, Delphi, Cassandra, and etc. As for her abilities, she has Reduced Defense Punisher, Poison Punisher, and Guardian Shadow. Not much to really say here, I think the effect speaks for itself. 30% extra damage is extremely good, and she has 2 abilities that gives her that extra damage. It's also worth noting that Defense Down and Poison is common among Shadow characters, and Alex can also apply those statuses herself, so her abilities are basically always active. So yeah, overall a great set of abilities. Now something I don't usually cover is the AI. AI Gala Alex is actually not that bad. It's not as bad as the typical sword AI. The AI Alex will always fill up its bar to 2 and spam skill 2 outside of the break. That means with an AI Alex, you're always going to get a pretty reliable poison enabler. When the foe is in overdrive, Alex does something like C2 or C3 4 strike and she'll still fill the bar to 2 and spam skill 2. When the foe is in a break state, then Alex actually somewhat takes advantage of the break punisher skill chain. She'll fill up her bar to 2 and alternate the use of her skills. It's not going to be as fast as a human of course, but she still kind of does it. Overall, Gala Alex is an extremely strong Xiao character. In fact, she's number 1 or number 2 in DPS among all characters. Not only does she have high DPS, she also has utility. She can dispel, apply defense down, and poison. She's able to spam skills really quickly, and even though she doesn't force strike as often as traditional swords, her skill chains hits like a truck and depletes overdrive bars fairly quickly, so that kind of makes up for the lack of force strikes. Considering how much DPS she outputs, I would say she's definitely a character worth pulling for. You don't even need to be a sword player to like her because she doesn't really play like a traditional sword. There's no need for C2 force strikes, you can just C5 and spam skills. Her skill chain mechanic may seem intimidating and overwhelming at first, but once you understand how it actually works, it's actually not that bad. There is no doubt that she's a top tier character. To put things into perspective on how strong she really is, Gala Alex has such good personal DPS to the point where she deals more damage off element than some of the other characters that are on element. I 100% definitely recommend pulling for her. And that's going to be it for this review. I'm going to leave you guys with some Gala Alex gameplay to watch. Best of luck to you guys on your Gala summons. I really hope you guys get a Gala Alex because she's amazing and really fun to play. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
これで王手としましょう。ブレイブフォース。セッ。終わりだ。フライスエッジ。はい。セッ。暗いなよ。シャドウ入れ。これが切り札だ。はい。終わりだ。ブレイブフォース。みんなやってね。フライスエッジ。ね。フライスエッジ。セッ。フライスエッジ。おら。セッ。シャドウ入れ。セッ。守りの力が満ちた。ブレイブフォース。フライスエッジ。やっ。セッ。フライスエッジ。セッ。フライスエッジ。フライスエッジ。セッ。フライスエッジ。みんなで攻めよ。シャドウ入れ。はい。やったな。さあ、メダルは目前だぞ。シャドウ入れ。はい。フライスエッジ。はい。この命を変えても守り抜いてみせる。